Hey everyone, time for a weekly video update. It was a very weird week in the world with the Kanye tweets, Super Bowl weekend, um, and more tariff news. So to start off this video by saying, I hope that you guys have watched my last couple of videos going over why I sold my long-term bags, the state of the market and where we were. And going to start today's video by saying that I think it's time for some type of relief in the markets. Now we are still in a heavy downtrend, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to be controversial, but I do believe that some, if not 60 to 70% of coins, and I call them markets, 70% of the markets in the crypto space have or are already in a bear market. Now, some coins aren't. Like for example, I don't think Bitcoin has completely topped yet, but I do believe coins like Sol and some other coins are topped for the cycle. Now, I discussed this in previous videos. Sorry, let me get a clean chart. I had a stream today with my students, went over the markets, but let me go over it with you guys. So first off, we bounced again from the trend line. Okay, just recently we have had no closures below this trend line, and like I said, I've said before in the past, the trend is your friend until broken. All right, so even if we were to draw an extended trend line, okay, okay, let's say we draw this extended trend line. All right, this trend line, as long as we are above it, we should continue to go higher. Now, it doesn't mean that we go into all-time highs. We are in a downtrending market. The environment is bearish, so there's no, you know, um, reason to get overly bullish for no reason. And like I've said before, this isn't a swing trade type market. This is a trading type environment. So time for long-term investments, in my opinion, are long gone. Okay, it's going to be choppy, and I think it's going to be choppy. Everyone's asking when alt season is going to start. When alt season is going to start. Alt season has already came and gone in multiple markets. All right. Now, everyone is expecting coins to do, 5x, 10x from here. I'm going to straight up tell you because no one else will. That's not going to happen, all right? You'd be lucky if we go back to the highs of this current cycle on most coins. I don't think most coins are going to pull up 3 to 5x from here, especially large caps. And the only coins that you should be focusing on are those strong BTC pairings. So I had to put that out there. Like I said, it's going to be a controversial take. I've backed up this, this thesis multiple of times. So, I personally um, have put my analysis out there, and whether you want to believe it or not, that is up to you. All right. So let's go back with this trend line here. Okay. We do have internal lows around 91K, 91.2. We have these lows here at 89K, and we have the 85K, which I do believe we will go and grab soon. Okay, and by soon could be months. So as long as we are on this trend line, we should go higher. Now, if we get a move into this order block here around 103 to 106, I am shorting that all the way down to 85K. Until we flip this level into support, this 104.5, right, resistance, okay, we had a deviation, all this resistance, we never had a flip here. Until we flip this into, and we can say like maybe this is also resistance here, so we can call this a resistance zone, okay, and people can say that this is possibly a ascending triangle. Above this level, okay, then we will have targets, and these are technical targets. Whoops. Technical targets of 126K, Remember, my target for this cycle on Bitcoin is around 120 to 130K, which is why I believe that the top isn't in for Bitcoin, but most coins, they are. All right. So above this level, then we can talk about new highs. But until then, we're going to take it level by level. This is the short zone. I don't know when we will get it, but if we do, that is one that I'm taking. And for those that are viewing my channel that aren't in any of my discords, okay, although I make these YouTube videos, every live update or any calls that I take are given in the Discord only. So I'm not going to make updates for you guys if you guys are taking these calls. If I take a trade, it's going to be given only in the Discord, okay? This is just for educational purposes and not financial advice. So manage your own positions. Risk management is important and up to you. So this is going to be my swing trade that I take all the way down to 85K. All right. Now let's trickle this down a little bit. Let's remove this. Let's go to a lower time frame. So on the 4-hour, Bitcoin has broken out, right? Now targets for this go into here, all right? But there's still a whole bunch of levels that we need to battle before we get to that level, okay? The first one, obviously, 100K. It was previously support, deviation, right? Support, then it became resistance. So 100K is going to be defended pretty hard. Let's draw some fibs. Let's draw it from okay. So if we get this 100K retest, let's go to a lower time frame. That is most likely one that I'd be looking to possibly short. Now, depending on how strong this impulsive move is going to be, meaning if we get a strong breakout with volume like this, right, straight into there, that is one where you'll have to monitor. But if we get this slow grind up like this, that is one that I'd be looking to short. I'd be looking to short that with very, very tight stops around 101.4. And again, this is just a current range that we are in, so I'm going to treat it as such. Right, so that'd be looking for a short. Now, if we get a dip, we have these internal lows, and we have tariffs coming tomorrow. Orange Man said that he's going to impose tariffs on steel, so I want to see how New York Open reacts. But don't be surprised if we eventually do break down from this trend line, go and take these lows here, right, and then bounce higher. Just like when we had these lows here, was swept and then went higher, okay, and these lows here were swept and then went just a little bit higher. Same thing can still happen to these two. So don't be surprised if we go and sweep those. All right, it's a very strong possibility. And although I still think that we see green this week because we've had such a disastrous 2 to 3 weeks of price action to the downside, if we sweep these lows and put in a swing failure, I'd be looking to long. Now these aren't going to be limit longs. These are conditional trades. You have to understand what a swing failure pattern is. But if we take those lows and sweep above them, I'd be looking to long all the way back to 100K. Okay? Now we could sweep both these in one swoop in one capitulation wick. But if we don't, these are two separate. You can be one separate play. Okay? And a conditional trigger would mean a stop loss below whatever wick is created once we close back above. So multiple plans here for Bitcoin, and if we even go lower lower down, okay, if this is going to be another fake out, which I don't like that 1 hour candle, that 1 hour candle currently has taken these highs, okay, so if we go back down, let's take these lows to these highs, I'd be looking at this 1 hour order block as well for a potential long trigger. Now this would be a limit order type trade. Entry would be around 94K, okay, and stops around 92.4-ish, okay. Risk about 1 to 1.5%, and again, TPs would be up to you. Okay, so let's see how this works here. All right. So those are the potential plays that I'm looking for on Bitcoin. We have the swing short, we have the conditional trade, we have the 100K short, and the 1 hour order block trade. Right. Now, let's take a look at ETH. Now, ETH has been a garbage piece of shit coin, and this is a trade that I shared in the Discord. Valid. I will share this with you guys. So let's remove this one because this one's canceled. All right. So I took the fibs from these highs, okay, down to these lows. It was before this was taken. We have a 4 hour order block here. Okay. The golden pocket lies perfectly at this resistance point with the 4 hour OB. So if we get an impulsive move up, we still haven't broken out from this downtrend. But if we get this impulsive move up to this 2800 area, I'd be looking to short with stops above about 2900. And again, this is a clear range. Play the range until broken. Now, if this gets stopped out, we have a few conditional trades to take. It would be a sweep of these internal highs, okay, create an SFP, and then once that is created and the candle closed, you mark it short with stops above the highs, right? Same thing for these lows. Eventually, and I'm going to say this because again, no one else will, I do think that we go and take out these lows here. I also do believe that ETH will be trading around $1,800. Okay. Basically, this 1943 down to 1500. I do believe that ETH will go and get these lows pretty soon. Now, what's concerning is if we were to draw this trend line, right? The more a trend line is touched, the weaker it's going to be. So the reason why I think we go and sweep these lows, let's go back to the 4 hour, is because it's going to be another trend line touch. Here is the trend line. Let's make that blue. So, by the way, ETH is in a bear flag. It's actually retesting the bottom trend line. Let's draw that. So we had the breakdown, retest, and the technical targets of this, okay, is around that $2,400 area. Now, like I said, I think it's going to be a green week, but that third option would be a sweep of these internal lows back to the 4 hour, a sweep of these lows, create the SFP. Once that 4 hour closes back above this line, you long with stops below the wick. Now, if the wick is only just a small amount, you have to give yourself some time to some time to breathe, and you're going to play it back into this range, right? This is the only thing that I'm currently looking for on ETH. Now, low time frame, I don't see any strength suggesting to market long anything, but a breakout, right? And then maybe you could scalp, excuse me, scalp long with stop somewhere below there. But that is a trade that you guys will have to decide if it does break out, because it hasn't yet. So that is what I'm looking for on ETH. Now Sol is at a very crucial point. Okay. Resistance, flip to support, back into resistance, deviation, flip to support, and now we're retesting this area, but on a lower time frame. This looks like it wants to break out. Okay. So if we can reclaim this level, which again we touched it 1, 2, 3, and like almost 4 times, it's getting weaker and weaker, right? But again, the market is reliant on Bitcoin. Whatever coin you are charting, it doesn't matter if it's the shittiest of the shittiest coins. Everything relies on Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance, right? And looking at Sol, let me get the Sol BTC chart up as well. Okay. So Sol BTC just put in another higher low recently. Okay. However, the chart is still weak, and I still think this coin is completely topped. Sol maxis are going to cry. I don't give a fuck. But reclaim this level, probably on lower time frame, and retest, okay? Then a long till probably this area here, okay? It is a SR point, a long with stops below 193, very, very tight stops, right? Because if we lose this level, okay, we are going to go down, and if we get a deeper correction, this 183 to 160 level, okay, has been strong support. Very strong support, and that is going to be another swing long opportunity. Stops probably below 163-ish. But again, very, very, very important level here for Sol. Right? Still holding the trend line. And again, you can draw another one if you want from here. Trend line touch. So coming back down into this area is very important. This would be a swing trade opportunity. If we get a move back into this order block here, this is where I'm going to swing trade this coin. Again, on a higher time frame. Stops above probably 277, all the way down to sub 100. This is going to be my bear market short. Now, obviously, it's going to be more reliant on a whole bunch of other data, but I think back to 250 to 260 area, that is going to be a swing short into bear market levels for Sol. Right? Like I said, this coin is topped in my opinion. And I gave a whole entire detailed analysis in my last previous videos, so go ahead and check that out if you want to see why. Now, lower time frame. Reclaim that level. You long with stops around 192. You have a supply zone here. And this would most likely be another short opportunity. If we flip this level back into support, then you long, sure, but until that happens, probably a tighter stop. Entry around 226, stops around 235, and then you play that back down. Now, it doesn't matter how long I drag this down, you're going to take profits at your own levels of support. If you are shorting, yes, support is where you take profits. If you are longing, resistance is where you take profits. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for on Sol. Sol looks decent if Bitcoin can just not shit the bed and the market doesn't nuke tomorrow on New York Open, then I do think that Sol does run. Okay. Now, an interesting coin is Litecoin. Very strong. Let's get the BTC pair. Okay. While everything else is going down, Litecoin is actually going up. And if Bitcoin continues higher, this should trade higher. Now the price action on Litecoin looks similar to where we were here, right? You had the first highs followed by move down into the second highs, okay, move down, and then you had consolidation with a wedge, right? There's the breakout, came back down. Now, Litecoin is not a favorite coin of mine to trade. I actually hate this coin. It is a dyno coin. It's not going to reach all-time highs ever. And for those that don't know, all-time highs for this garbage piece of shit is around $400. It's never going to reach all-time highs, okay? But as a trade, we had a breakout of this resistance. You have an order block here. Okay, so your SR point, let's bring it down a little bit. Points of most touch. Let's make this black. So a possible trade opportunity for Litecoin okay, if Bitcoin doesn't nuke again, would be something like this. Okay, so although this one broke out, didn't actually hold, this one looks like it's a solid breakout with decent structure. Now this is most likely going to reject from this small little supply zone here. It already has. This is still in a downtrend. So if we can get a move like this and hold, I think that we come back, reject, and then it just goes up if Bitcoin continues to show strength. Now, obviously, like I said, everything relies on Bitcoin. So taking a look from, I don't know why I chose that, taking a look at this from the strength, that's a very strong candle. Now, I don't like this, no, I never mind, it has a wick. I was going to say this is a bottomless candle. So entry around 208. Again, if I take this, the people that are in Discord, if I take this, I will give it in the Discord. All right. Most of the time, I'm just showing you the popular coins that have really good price action for educational purposes. You can decide what to take yourself. I won't be updating this at all in the Discords, all right, unless I give it in my channel. Stops below yesterday's low and target, TP1 and then levels of resistance for yourself. Okay. Now I think it talks about a Litecoin ETF are coming out. That's why this is pumping. But a possible short attempt. Like I said, this is still in a downtrend. Okay. But just like this one, right? Breakout goes through. I don't think this is going to be a strong breakout. ETF news, you'll have a giant candle, but then it's most likely a sell the news event. So I definitely short it if that goes to that area. Back down. Okay. Now this is a current range trade. Here's your range. If we fail, if we deviate back under here and close under here, then short with stops above the most recent resistance and you play back down to range lows. What does that look like? It looks like this. So let's say candle comes back and does something like this. Let's clear this one. So let's say price does this, close below here, right? And we have resistance here. Your short is going to be, I would like for this to go retest first to confirm that this is a deviation. Your entry would look something like this, play it back down to the range lows. That would be a deviation breakout, failed attempt, target back down to range lows. Okay, Bitcoin had something like that. And let me show you what this looks like. Okay, so if this is your range, here's your, okay, see how we had the breakout, fall back under, close below, reject, and then play back down to range low, right? Deviation, close below, reject, back down to range low. So similar thing on Litecoin as well. If we close down below, look for the rejection, play back down to range low. All right. And last but not least, another coin of interest, and again, another shit coin that I do not like to play is Injective. Okay. This was actually a member recommendation. I looked at the chart. It could actually provide a nice, decent bounce. We had support, support held. We lost it, turned into resistance. Okay, this is a very crucial level. This looks like a possible deviation in play. If Bitcoin doesn't completely nuke here, okay, and we reclaim this level, then we could get a nice bounce back into resistance. All right, so something like, just like the opposite of Litecoin, right, where we close below and reject, we close above and retest this, you are looking for something like stops below there. Okay, so this is a deviation of a sell side, and this is a deviation of a buy side. All right, again, coin is still in a downtrend, so there's nothing to get horny about. All right, but this looks good for a possible deviation type trade. All right. Now, the troubling thing is Bitcoin dominance. Okay. So this chart tells you when to be risk on or risk off on altcoins. Here was the weekly order block, this one here. Rejected the first time, had a small little alt rally. Okay, this is a weekly chart. We took out these highs and we're hovering within the supply zone. Now, if we go to a lower time frame, these were the highs. We're flipping it into support, which usually means continuation to the upside. But we want this to come back down to the trend line. And if it comes back down to the trend line, these few days of green that we got in the market, that's where you're going to sell at least a portion or move your stop loss to break even, because this chart tells you when to be risk on or risk off. It's also inversely correlated to crypto. So a bullish BTC dominance, bearish for alts. Okay, bearish BTC dominance, bullish for alts. there's no signs of this slowing down. The key to alt season happening, and like I said, not every coin's going to run. All right, some may be lucky to get back to their cycle highs, like the last couple of months, but most won't. The key for that to happen is a breakdown of this trend line and then down to 54%, which is key support. That is where you're going to sell most of your bags, because after that, we go into a period of harsh recession, okay, in the markets. All right. Now, USDT dominance as well. Okay. USDT dominance, again, inversely correlated to crypto. We broke out of this range that we were in since November, possibly coming to retest this range highs. All right. What we want for this to happen is a deviation of this breakout, close back below, reject, have this go back down to range low levels. Remember what I showed you on Bitcoin and then Litecoin, for example. If this happens, this ties in perfectly with our Bitcoin dominance analysis and our little altcoin relief rally. All right. So these are what I'm looking at. This Litecoin trade is most likely going to be the riskiest trade of all. Sol looks decent. Bitcoin's still hovering, but it's going to be a pretty volatile week. Bitcoin volatility is looking for a violent move. All right, we hit the zone. Now my students know this best, but we hit the zone on Saturday. 2 to 3 days after this zone is hit, we have extreme volatility in the markets. 2 to 3 days is today, but I think the move comes Tuesday or Wednesday, and we're going to be a pretty volatile space, and a big move is going to be happening. Whether it's the upside or downside, I can't really tell. I think it's going to be a green week, but we have, the tariff news tomorrow. I think we have CPI this week on Wednesday, and a few other reports, but just keep that in mind. All right, it's going to be a volatile week, so in terms of risk management, I would urge you guys to go in with half of normal position sizing, because the trend is still down. So if you're playing against the trend, you want to go in with reduced size. That's what I do. That's what I preach. So just keep that in mind. But I don't think we see a big move in the markets until New York Open and how crypto is going to react to the stock market accepting the news of the tariffs. Okay, unless the clown in charge is going to be like, oh, I'm taking this back, and then we rally again. All right, but he's nothing but a clown. Okay, and we're in a clown. We're living in a circus. So that's it from me. I will catch you guys. Actually, I won't be making a video next week, so I will catch you guys in 2 weeks from now. Thanks, everyone.